The relationship between the US and China reminds me of a movie, A Star is Born. An older star adopts a relationship with a younger protege, only in the end to be eclipsed by this younger, newer star. From the US side, expectations that could not be met. From the Chinese side, ancient nation that has adopted new ideas. The relationship was more like a matter of convenience, political and economic. The US, a superstar, was beckoning to China, which was just emerging. The importance of the relationship could not be underestimated. 50 years ago, the US was looking for an acolyte. They wanted to bring the world together under one idea. And it was very emotional, the sense that you could have democracy, free markets, liberal values, and they really believed that. And they saw in China an acolyte, a group that could eventually do that. But China is an ancient culture who had a very modern idea, especially about governance and the structure and the society they wanted. So as the years went by, the differences started to overwhelm the commonalities, and the relationship matured. And by matured, I mean that China found its own voice. Chinese characteristics, phrase that's often used to explain how China has developed its own idea about governance, about how the world works, about economics, and it's been successful. For the last 50 years, China has risen. It has literally eclipsed the United States. And what used to be the US's strength, the soft power, was able to sell innovation, freedom, hope. This was valuable. It sold not only the ideas of America, but also the products. But today, China's mixture of economic success and political restraint has now become something that is aspirational for many people around the globe. What started as a relationship that was positive has now kind of deteriorated into a mixture of recriminations and actions. For instance, the US, fearing that China is getting ahead, instead of saying, isn't it wonderful what competition does and how China has risen, they have instead taken actions against Chinese companies. In essence, is a geopolitical rivalry. As this relationship has matured, there has been a failure of the US to realize that China, like in The Star is Born, the protege has developed its own voice, its own way of handling things. And it is time to allow the protege the ability to find success in their own way. People and nations have the right to choose. This was a fundamental principle of what the United States always talks about and stood for. Today, China stands as an alternative, not a competitor to the United States. And it is incumbent on the US to accept this. How will these two countries come back together again? How can they have a mature relationship? I say that the only way that is possible is to recognize that China has come into its own with a different system, not a competitive one, but one where they can work together, not only for their own interests, but for the necessity of working together for the world's interest.